everybody. Welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie, Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So today's trope video for you guys it's about the dads, isn't it? Explain it, Mandy. Explain it.
So this is boyfriend's dad, husband's dad, that forbidden taboo dad.
The forbidden taboo dad. So it's all about the daddies. All right. That sounds so wrong. Okay, but before we get started, what do you want to tell them?
Well, make sure you hit that subscribe button because you want to be entered to win these calorie books. These are some amazing books. Jessica and I, it's one of our favorite authors, favorite books. You definitely want to win this. So hit that subscribe button because this is our road to 2K giveaway. And when we get to 1,500, that's our pit stop. We will be giving away these calorie books. So hit that subscribe button, like our video, follow us on Instagram for an extra entry, comment below. We love to interact with you guys. So thank you so much for your support.
Yeah. And we just did an interview with Calorie this week, and I will link it in the cards above here. But go check that out as well. She is so sweet.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. So, okay. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. So this is an interesting one. This is one that you enjoy. I mean, I think you enjoy this one. You read this one a little bit more than I do. But I
love the taboo, forbidden love, age gap.
It has to be taboo enough. Like sometimes I get them and they're not that taboo, but I think we've got a few.
Yes.
So, okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's chew this. Okay. I think I just said let's chew this, but that's okay. All right. So the first recommendations I have for you is okay. So Mafia Mistress by Mila Finelli. And then this is a duet. So then you have Mafia Darling, which is book 2. I was just looking to see which one was book 2. But this is the first 2 books in Mila's Kings of Italy series. I've read several of the books in the series. I love them. But this is about Fausto and Francesca. So Francesca lives in Canada. Her dad is a part of the mafia. And she has been, raised a little mafia princess, but she has a mind of her own. Like she doesn't necessarily want to be a part of that. And one day this guy comes to visit her father and she's, told to stay in the house. And turns out he is there from Italy and it is Fausto. And he has come to get Francesca, whether she likes it or not, and take her home to marry his son, who will eventually be take his place. Francesca tries to escape. She gets caught and she gets, kidnapped and dragged back to Italy where she's supposed to be marrying Fausto's son. But at some point things start to fall apart a little bit. And Fausto's like, well, you know what? She's mine, but I'm not going to marry her. She's just going to be my mistress, which is a total slap in the face. But he's like, you know what? I don't think my son deserves you. So now you're mine. So that is what this is about. It is a duet. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of fun in this series. Like fun is in, kidnapper and keeper kind of fun. But I loved it. The first 2 about them, I loved it. I loved it. Go read it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what is your first book, Mandy?
Well, my first book is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas.
Shocker.
Yes, I know. So this is, as most people know, one of my favorite books of all time. But as much as I talk about it being one of my favorite books, I realize I really don't have it in very many recommendations. So I am excited to bring it to you for this one. So this book was my gateway taboo book where I first realized how much I love a taboo age gap romance. So we have Jordan, who it's her birthday. Her boyfriend is MIA. And she's really pulling all the weight in this relationship. She's got the jobs. She has a car that he borrows all the time, and she's paying rent. He can't seem to keep a job. He's constantly getting fired and constantly spending her money. So this would be, if you're from Jessica and I's generation, what TLC would call a scrub. But Jordan, she's just a great person. And so she's having a hard time realizing that she deserves better and that he could do better, basically. She kind of falls for his his lies, I guess, on what's going on. So it's after her shift at the bar, and she decides to go watch a movie by herself because she can't get a hold of her boyfriend. And while she's there, she's having like a little pity party for herself a little bit. And she meets this gorgeous older guy, and they kind of hit it off. And as they're leaving, he gets a phone call, and it turns out his son is in jail. And it also turns out his son is Jordan's boyfriend. So we kind of fast forward from there, and Jordan and her boyfriend end up getting kicked out of their apartment. And so Pike takes them in because he's trying to rebuild his relationship with his son. So he takes them in, and this is where he really starts to realize that his son is quite a dirtbag and does not treat Jordan well. And he realizes that Jordan is really quite caring, and she tries to take care of him. She really tries to pull the weight for both of them around the house. And it really starts to irritate Pike that she's having to do all of this. And he realizes that his irritation isn't just so much with his son, but also with himself, because he's starting to develop feelings for Jordan. Absolutely love this book. Do yourself a favor and go read it. It is the best.
Mhm.
Birthday girl. Thank you, Jessica, for telling me to read this a couple years ago.
You're
The
welcome.
best. Okay. Loved it.
One of the best things I ever did for you, right?
Yes. All
Okay.
the years of friendship, and it's birthday girl. No.
I know. Okay, so this book, the next one that I have, we've both read.
We will see
So
her in July twice.
Oh, because she's gonna go to the Rockies too.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna see her in July in Seattle, and then the following weekend in Canada at the Rockies.
Yes.
That's gonna be crazy. Okay, so we're gonna be seeing. So that is Two Wrongs. The book is Two Wrongs by Kimberly Curillo. So let's talk about that one. This one is about Ren and Griffin. So Ren is married to Liam. They've been married for about it's 5 years since their 5-year wedding anniversary. They got married right out of high school. Griffin is a little bit of a scrub himself, just like Mandy was talking about in her book. And Ren is going to school and working and paying all the bills and just putting up with stuff that I would never put up with. Okay, let's just get that out in the open. And it's their 5th wedding anniversary, and she decides she's going to make a fancy dinner for her husband. And you know, she gets the dinner, she gets everything ready, and he doesn't come home. And she's like, wait, where? It's our anniversary. Where is he? And she can't get him to answer the phone. So she wants to go find him. So she calls up her father-in-law, who is Griffin, and they go looking for him because he hasn't come home. They find him having relations with somebody else in their car, like in a makeout spot. And so she, immediately, like, this is it. This is the end of their relationship. Well, Griffin and her have never gotten along. It's her father-in-law, and he is they don't get along. She thinks he hates her. But at this point, when the relationship falls apart, she doesn't have much of a choice but to depend on Griffin for certain things. And that is where their relationship comes from. He doesn't hate her. He's just always been attracted to her. So this one was really good. Mandy.
I'm trying to find my notes.
This one was really good. I loved it. You loved it. I can't wait to read. Like, there's another book that just came out in this series that we were both wanting to read. So it was good. It is a father-in-law. It does have quite a bit. I mean, there is some taboo. I wish it was a tiny bit more taboo-ish, but but it was good. I really liked it.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
I concur.
You concur. What do you got next?
My book.
I'm sorry. It's like a 19-year age gap too. So that's, yeah. Okay.
All right. So my next book is called X-Rated Attraction by Kay Webster. This is about Olivia, and she has been dating Kayla when she starts to find herself very attracted to Miles. He calls her damsel. She calls him villain. They have very hot, steamy relations during a party. Miles is Caleb's dad. So this is a novella. It is by Kay Webster. So if you are looking just for that taboo novella fix, go grab this book. You will not be disappointed. That's all I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay.
It's a short one. I mean,
Okay.
it is a novella, but if
Yeah.
you need that fix, go read this one.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. All right. So the next one I have is also novella length, and it's really good too. This one is it has some holiday vibes because these things do happen over the holidays, but I read it in, I don't know, in February, and that it didn't bother me. So that is Revenge Era, and this is by Brittany Nicole. I've been reading several of Brittany Nicole's books recently, and I like her. I like her writing style. I really do. So this is about Lake and Ford. So Lake is a pop star. You know, she's a singer. She's made it big, and she's been dating this guy for 2 years. And she catches her boyfriend of 2 years cheating on her with her manager, her male manager. So she catches him. One of them's going down on the other. I'm not sure which one's which. It doesn't really matter, but she catches them doing that. And that leads her to decide to get revenge by, you know, being with his dad, who is also the owner of her label. So you're going to get some drama from that part, but that is Ford, and he owns the label, and it is also the boyfriend's dad. And so she decides that, you know, let's get some revenge. Like, she has a little break, and they have always been attracted to each other, and off they go. But, you know, obviously things happen. Things happen. You can't just have, it's never just that one time. Never. And that's not how revenge works, apparently. So I really liked this one. This was good. And it has a lot of, like, every title, for those who are Swifties, I'm not, but every title of the book, every heading of each chapter is based on has a Swiftie title of the song title is the header. So I think she was kind of supposed to be like Taylor Swift, but I'm not a Swiftie, so it didn't do it for me there. But for those of you who are, that might be an added bonus. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. What do you got next?
Okay, my next book is Who's Your Daddy by Lauren Rowe. So this was one of my top reads in the month of March. Absolutely love this book. So this is about Marnie and Max. Marnie and Max both are kind of doing different things in their lives where they don't want relationships. Marnie has a daughter who has some disabilities, and so her focus has solely been on her daughter and getting her daughter where she needs to be. She was a preemie and things like that, so she's about 3, and this has been her sole focus. Max is working to try and become the youngest partner at his law firm, and so he is very focused on work. So they meet each other through some mutual friends and end up hooking up with an agreement that this is like no strings attached, just mutually beneficial situation. And the next morning, they're already making plans for like breakfast and dinner later. And while Max is in the bathroom, Marnie notices a photo. Now, Marnie previously had been dating this man and thought things were going really well. And she finds out that he was married. So she kind of is done it, like with him, freaks out, and is like over him. Well, guess what? She finds a photo in Max's apartment that clearly indicates that Max's dad is her ex that was married. Luckily, he was on his 3rd wife, so it was not Max's mom. So we can take that little bit of drama out of there. So she freaks and she bails. We fast forward a year later, and those same mutual friends, they are at a party and run into each other again. And Max kind of wants answers. And Marty's really not sure how to give those answers because it's complicated, right? Loved this story so much. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So it is reverse age gap because Marnie is a little bit closer in age to Max's dad. So you have that aspect. But Max is obviously an adult. He's gone to law school, all of that. So the age gap part doesn't really play too much of a role, at least for me, it didn't. But just that whole, like, how do you work your way through that mess?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right. So the next one I have is a 21-year age gap. Does that make you excited, Mandy?
Yeah, I grabbed my notepad and I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
Not only are these recs for you guys, but they're recs for us too.
Okay, so this one is Latte Darling by S.J. Tilley. I have seen this one making the rounds lately. It is really good. It was one of those, it was more of, I mean, as good as it was, like it is Taboo as it's supposed to be, it was still a little bit more lighthearted. The dirty talk in this one was like, chef's kiss. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is about Maddie and Axel. So Maddie has agreed to go on a blind date. She met this guy on an app. She believes that she's in her 20s, early 20s. She believes he's roughly the same age as her. So she's met this guy on an app. They're going on a date. She's sitting in the bar or the restaurant, wherever she's at, and this guy is late. He hasn't shown. And she's freaking out like I would be. He was like a whole 5 minutes late, and she was having a conniption fit, and some people are late. I'm early, so that would mean that he would probably be like 20 minutes late because I'm there 15 minutes early wherever I go. But she's freaking out. He's not showing, and then he's not showing, and then he's not showing. And then all of a sudden there's this big burly guy standing next to her. And she's like, what the heck? And he's like, are you Maddie? And she's like, yeah. And she goes, okay. He's like, okay, your date is not coming. My name is Axel. I'm his father. He's only, I think he was 19 or 20, but he was living with Axel, and he was being a scrub. And so Axel, who pays all his bills and stuff, took his phone away and took a bunch of stuff away from him and was like, I took his phone away because I refuse to pay for that anymore. And I saw that he has a date with you tonight. And maybe it was 18. I can't remember. But he took the phone away and was like, but I saw that you guys had a date tonight, and I didn't want to just leave you high and dry. So here I am. And she's looking up at this Silver Fox, this guy he owns a mechanic shop, and he's got his sweatshirt pulled up, and he just, so he sits down and has some coffee with her, and they get to talking, and then they end up having a one night stand that leads to so much more. Mandy's looking at her notes again. What do you have next?
Okay, my next book is The Trist by Lauren Blakely. Okay, so we have Nick and Layla. They hook up at a conference. Nick is a little bit older than Layla. Layla's not concerned about that, but they end up hooking up. She really is taken by him, I guess you could say. And they start kind of this email chain. He's out of town for work, and she thinks that maybe at some point stuff might like come back together for them, but she's not 100% sure. So we're going to fast forward. She's going to be working with her friend David, who's her friend. They dated in college. It wasn't that serious of a relationship, I don't think, because they became friends pretty quickly afterwards. So they're friends, and she's going to be working with David and David's dad on this fundraising project that David's involved in. And while David is off talking to somebody else, they're at a restaurant meeting up for the first time, and walks Nick, and she's like, oh my gosh, Nick, what are you doing here? And Nick and Layla then quickly realize that Nick is David's dad. And things get very complicated very quickly from that point on, because Nick and Layla have like undeniable chemistry, but they both are very loyal to David and don't want to complicate things. So while this does not have the big taboo factor, because relationships are done, like everybody's in their own place, so nothing like crazy has happened. So that taboo factor is definitely taken away in this. So if you are looking to read something that has a little bit of the, boyfriend's dad feel without like the taboo aspect of it, this would be a great start. Really enjoyed it a lot.
All right. So my last one I actually read this week. I got it for my birthday. I've been holding on to it. It's been like on my TBR once or twice, and for the month, and I hadn't gotten to it yet, but I'm so glad that I read it. Okay. You ready for this? You got your notes ready?
I'm ready.
I know you're going to want this. Okay. So this is Hired Help by Layla Simon. This is a hot one. Okay. So this is about Brooke. So Brooke is now this all takes place in New Zealand. So there is a foreword in here that talks about how in New Zealand, the age of consent is 16, the legal drinking age is 18. And it sounds like it's almost like how in the UK they have 13, like their senior year is year 13 for them, where here it's year 12, even though it's different. But yeah, just keep that in mind. If you read this is in New Zealand. So you have Brooke. She's in her last year of school. She is an heiress, and she attends this boarding school with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend is Harrison. And they just started having sex like 6 months before the book starts, and she doesn't get to have an orgasm. She never has. She gets in her head, as we do. She starts thinking about other things, and things don't happen. And she thinks that there's something seriously wrong with her. And one day, right after they have sex, it's like their school break or something. He's staying with her at her stepmom's house. Her parents are divorced, but she still stays with her stepmom. And he goes downstairs to get a snack for them, and he comes back upstairs and immediately breaks up with her. She has no clue what happens, and he leaves. She's devastated. They get back to school. He's doing horrible, horrible things to her. He's making it sound like she was inadequate, and so that's why he broke up with her, and she is devastated. The angst in the beginning of this book, you just feel that poor girl is just being embarrassed by the whole senior class, and because of him. And she is just mortified, and she knows that the senior dance is coming up, and she wants a date, but she also doesn't want to she wants a date, but she also is afraid that like there is something wrong with her, and that's why she couldn't climax at all when they're having sex. My personal opinion, you're 18-year-old. You're just 18-year-olds. You don't know what you're doing. But okay, that's a different story. But anyhow, she knows that Harrison is at odds with his dad. Harrison's dad has not been in the picture for a very long time. His dad is a stripper and sometimes a male escort. And so at this time, Harrison's dad has just relisted his male escort listing, and she just happens to come across it and see that he's back in the game. So she hires him to not only take her to her school dance, but to teach her the first 2 weeks about sex. And it just goes from there, because during those 2 weeks, they start to fall for each other. But Harrison is still not quite out of the picture. So this isn't MFM. I'm just going to give you guys that because for some people that is a breaker, or that's the thing that's going to do it. And it's not really giving much away, but it is an MFM. So just keep that in mind. But my God, it was hot. It was hot. Now his dad did have him really, really young, and he does not have a relationship with his dad at all, really. But just keep that.
I think that's a theme in a lot of these dad's boyfriend books, that the dad had them pretty young. Yep. So that the age gap isn't like 30 years or 40 years.
It was just, I read it this week and it was just so good. Like I had other things I had to read and it just consumed me. It was just good.
Yeah.
She's the one that wrote the prison book that I really like too. The Time Out. Yeah. So, okay. What is your last rec?
Okay. My last rec is Here With Me by Brooke Montgomery. So we have Noah, who is our heroine. Sometimes the name Noah, for me, I just automatically am going to think that this must be our hero, but Noah is our heroine. So Noah goes to a rodeo. She works on her family's ranch. I should probably back up with that. It's a pretty big ranch, so this is kind of what she does full time. She trains horses, and she goes to this rodeo. At the rodeo, she meets Fisher, who is older than her, but very attractive. And there's some instant chemistry there. And they get up to some different things along the way, but basically they end up having, I don't know if we can call it a one-night stand, because I don't know either one of them went into it with the idea that it was a one-night stand, but they hook up. The next morning, she takes a peek at his driver's license and realizes that he is her ex-boyfriend, who has been her on-again, off-again boyfriend for years since high school, who's still very much a part of her life, that it is his dad. So she freaks and she runs. Well, guess who is going to be the new farrier on the farm, who's come back to town to really try and make amends for his relationship with his son? Well, yes, indeed, it would be Fisher. So here, Fisher and Noah are now kind of thrown together. She knows who he is. but she really can't deny how attracted she is to him. So, how does this work out? How does this work out when he is trying to repair a relationship with his son? His son is still hung up on Noah. I loved it. There's some good angst in here. And the whole series in general is just really, really good. I've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to book 3 coming out soon. So just love being on that ranch. It was a great story.
Yeah, it was a good story. Yeah. All right, guys. So those are the daddies for you.
Okay. If you have any good daddy books, dad's boyfriend, not dad's boyfriend. Oh my gosh.
That's a whole other book.
Maybe.
Wow.
Ex-boyfriend, boyfriend, dad, husband's dad. Put them in the comments if we didn't talk about it here. I tried to pick the most recent ones with the exception of Birthday Girl that I've read. So I may have already read the books, but please tell us below, because if we missed any, I definitely need to go read them. I wrote a few down from this book as well, or from this video.
This is our first daddy video, so we do have some. I mean, like we've read a few, like the Katie Roberts and stuff. So
yes,
but also just because they sound somewhat okay, because you know they're on a ranch, it sounds small town, whatever. Definitely check triggers, because some of mine are darker, or they have some darker elements. The taboo element leads to the dark, so definitely check your own triggers before you go.
Yeah, there are some triggers for this one as well. So always with any book, you should just read. And most authors I have found are very forthcoming with letting you know that you can visit their website to find out any triggers. We often don't talk about specific triggers because that can often be a huge spoiler. So that's why you won't hear us necessarily mentioning specific ones on our channel, but we always encourage you to go look those up if that could be a potential issue for you. Reading should be fun and not cause you undue stress unless it's just a really angsty book.
Which then you're asking for the stress. So
yes. All
right. Okay, Mandy.
All right. Well, make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.